What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dirty Degens, and I am your host, Josh. And I've got another good show for you tonight. A lot has going on in the market the last couple of days, but especially yesterday. A big day that we've all been looking forward to, or maybe not, for about the last month or so. And it's had a lot of implications, and it's kind of made a statement in terms of where we will go next. Not only that, I've also got some Solana news, some Sweet news, some Avalanche news, and some other stuff. So let's go ahead and dive right in and have a good old time. Kicking things off, as you can see, this is the first thing I actually want to talk about is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the big dog. Bitcoin runs the space. If Bitcoin doesn't agree, nothing else is going to agree right now. So everybody is panicking and has been freaking out because Bitcoin had an extremely volatile day. Now, if you've been following this channel for the past couple weeks, I said this was going to happen. I said that tariffs would be a sell the news event and a buy the rumor event, which we did have. However, of course, due to market circumstances and due to market participants, we did have a drop after that fact. However, many expected it to go much, much lower than we did. So I have this chart pulled up just to put it into perspective for you, because everybody seems to be just a little bit confused. If we scroll back here, we can see this is when we breached the 60, 70K mark all the way back in November, right? And we are currently still at $82,000. This was the low in March, when we had that panic sell, the panic dump situation on that Sunday, and then kind of led into Monday and bottomed out on Tuesday. And we've been basically up only since. But doesn't mean this is on the daily scale. So obviously it doesn't look as wild as it has been. But a lot of people expected the tariff news to actually shoot us. Let me go ahead and just throw this down. A lot of people expected the tariffs to shoot us down to here. We came nowhere close. Bitcoin shot up, almost breached 88.5 and came back down. And now we're testing overnight 81K, 81.2, 81.3. A lot of people expected much, much worse. Now, what does this tell you, though? This tells you tariffs were actually already priced in. I'll get to your guys' chat messages in a minute. Don't make me lose my train of thought. But no, so it's really not as bad as everything seems. The volatility is expected, especially as Bitcoin is trading with the S&P and the NASDAQ. It's not a big surprise that this has happened, but the situation is much, much better than we could expect, especially with how bad things are. And just to put it into perspective of how bad things are, this was the stock market today. Now, don't get me wrong. If I pull up Coin 360, that's 260. It's not going to look a whole lot better. Just let me in. It doesn't look a whole lot better, right? It's a sea of red as well. But the point is that this is actually worse than crypto. We had over $1 trillion, about $1.3 trillion wiped out of the Magnificent Seven. So you're talking Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, I believe Google, Meta, and I can't remember the rest, but very, very bad. And it didn't hit crypto nearly as hard because it's already been priced in. These traders have been waiting for it and are ready. Now, the fact that we're still holding 80K on Bitcoin is about as bullish as it can possibly get. A lot of people were calling for us to test past all-time highs. So in that case, you would be expecting Bitcoin to drop down to about 68.5, which did not happen. Didn't even come anywhere near close. I had limit orders set up for the potential of those wicks to come down to 72, 75, even 70K, 69K in case it did happen. But I didn't actually think it would happen. But you always got to be prepared for either side of the coin. But it just goes to show you that everybody was overplaying or overthinking how bad it could actually be. The stock market's the one who actually took the hit, because today it recorded the worst loss since COVID. So the worst trading day in 4 years. And what does that go back to? That goes back to COVID. So for the stock market, it was actually a black swan event. However, for crypto, it was just another day in the markets, right? It really wasn't all that bad. We did have a lot wiped out and everything like that, but we'll get back to it. However, Trump is seeing all this go on. And you got to remember Trump's first term in office, markets boomed. Markets went insane. I think like the first month or so, the S&P went up like 70, 80%. So they went absolute nuclear. And now it's been a completely different story. If you go back to, off of, we can just look at the Bitcoin chart for it because Bitcoin has been following the stock market. So you go back to inauguration where he's getting, it's looking good that he's going to get voted in. Bitcoin goes up on a parabolic run, and then that kind of cools down, and then he gets voted in. We're in January, and it kind of rallies into it, and then he starts announcing tariffs and all these other plans that he has going on, and the market just kind of dumps until now. So the stock market has done the same exact thing, and he really is getting a lot of heat from that, from different funds, from banks, from traders, from all sorts of people. They're not necessarily stoked about that, but gotta remind you, it's not the president's job to make the market go up and make you money. No. However, his policies will tend to have an impact on that. But Trump, at the end of the day, is a businessman, and a lot of his friends are businessmen. So what are they going to be talking to him about? Well, the valuation of my company has gone down 30% since you took office. So who is one of Trump's best friends right now? Elon Musk. How bad is Tesla doing? About as bad as it possibly could be. So it goes to tell you there's people in his ear, right? And that's why he's talking about now, oh crap, we got to get this market to boom. But in the meantime, there's still a lot of waves that are going to happen because the tariff news just happened yesterday. We're at the very beginning of all of this happening. Well, I guess you could say a midpoint because the beginning would have been the announcement, and now it's actually enacted, and now it's what's going to happen until it all ends. But what's going to happen until it all ends is Trump went easy on tariffs, and now countries have to absorb that a little bit, understand it, figure out how to react. Will they drop tariffs? Are they going to move production? What exactly are they going to do? How are they going to handle this situation? And already you have countries like Canada saying they're going to stop tariffs, Mexico going to stop tariffs. So slowly but surely, these countries are going to respond. And the reason why the current market situation is bullish and not bearish, and it shows signs towards the bottom being the basically big threat of tariffs that we had in early March, is because this is as bad as it's going to get. It's not going to get worse in terms of tariffs. The United States is a major economic power in the world. A lot of different countries rely on the United States, not saying that the United States doesn't rely on others as well, but at the end of the day, we are the biggest powerhouse in the world. So these countries are not going to respond by saying, oh, you tariffed us 30%, we're going to tariff you 60%. No. They're going to say, how can we make these tariffs go away to better our people so that you can't continue to put your thumb down on us? Because that's what they ultimately want. Tariffs on all of these other countries are going to do the same thing that ultimately, in a way, it's going to have on us. It's going to raise inflation. It's going to create less jobs, or, well, create more layoffs, not less jobs. And among other things, more economic uncertainty, higher inflation, just a bad concoction all around for these other countries. So I don't really expect any of these countries to respond harshly. There's really nobody except maybe the European Union that can respond in a harsh way and actually impact the United States. So what I expect over the next couple months leading into May, because we just got into April, right, is in May, we have our next rate cut. And by then, I bet you there's countries that are backing off on tariffs and things like that. So it's a big thing to pay attention to, but it does have a major impact on crypto. Doesn't mean it's the only thing that decides crypto's future. It's just a speed bump on the way through. That's all. And that's exactly why the crypto market did crash today. It's a lot of tariff panic, a lot of liquidations, and I can show you that right here. In the last 24 hours, and these liquidations also are not even bad. We have seen much, much worse liquidations. This shows you how much it was already priced in. People were already expecting this. We only had $422 million of longs liquidated in the last 24 hours. You could say that maybe that's more along the lines of like 600. Wait, that says K. Hold on. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. So you've got 328 million in the last 24 hours, but that's probably more along like 600 million, because not all liquidations are actually able to be tracked. There's different, different exchanges have their different features and everything like that. So this warranted to it. However, we did also have a little bit of an ETF sell off. It wasn't too bad though. I don't think I have this. I can pull it up. Only, which this is shocking, only BlackRock's ETF sold off yesterday. All the others actually had inflow. So the sell off was more so liquidations and just traders that had big holdings that are able to move the market that way. It's all point of the matter, right? It happens in real time, and it doesn't impact the long-term vision or what's going to happen in the end. And that's why it's important to continue to pay attention to the whole point of Trump's reason of all of this is to lower inflation, make the United States another trade powerhouse, and ultimately strengthen the dollar. What does he have to do to strengthen the dollar? He's got to drop the treasury yield. That's what these tariffs are doing. Ultimately, in the beginning, it does weaken the dollar, but it's a long-term vision. Trump's not thinking of a week from now, a month from now. He's thinking 6, 8 months from now. And I'm also going to preface that by saying I'm not a Trump bull. I'm not a political bull. I don't like politics. The only reason why I pay attention to politics is because of the impact it has on the market. I could give two F's who's president. All that matters to me is what they're doing and how it impacts our financial market. So, what is their vision? How are they going to accomplish it? And what are the ramifications on us while that's going on? Right. And this is a good sign. This is what we want to see, because the more this falls, the more likely they are to ease their stance. And that's why that's important. And also, tariffs can be a good thing too. We've been gloating about these Bitcoin strategies and Bitcoin strategic reserve and everything like that. However, currently it's only confiscated Bitcoin, right? There's no actual purchasing going on. It's essentially stolen Bitcoin that's been stolen again, and now the United States holds it. It doesn't go back to the people that got stolen from. It just gets to now the United States holds it. However, that's not a true Bitcoin strategic reserve. A strategic reserve is inputting your money to build that reserve, right? So now you've got the United States that's trying to figure out how can they possibly do that. It doesn't make sense. We can't go and invest $500 billion in Bitcoin right now, right? Like we're trying to solve a debt crisis, not create another one by potentially investing in digital gold. That's how the government would think about it, right? But the tariffs are going to create a lot more income. Now, I get it. A lot of people say, or a lot of economic advisors and things like that are saying, oh, it's not going to do as much as they say it will. It's not going to solve the debt crisis. You know what? I'm going to pull this. I didn't have this pulled up either, but let's pull this up. There's about nothing that is going to solve the debt crisis. Our U.S. national debt is $36 trillion. No, tariffs are not going to solve that. However, what tariffs will do is slowly chip away at that, just like the savings of Doge and things like that. But the point of the matter is that there's nothing in the immediate term that will fix $36 trillion of debt. Nothing. Bitcoin certainly cannot fix that, right? It's a path to, in the future, potentially have a fail-safe for that situation. However, right now, no. But we're tossing around a few different ideas, whether it's bonds, tariff revenue, things like that, to build this strategic reserve. And it's going to have huge implications if the United States actually goes to buy 2% of the supply, right? Or whatever they're going to do. Now we're going to have to wait and see what actually happens there, but good signs nonetheless. Another good sign is that the anti CBDC bill has once again been passed. So that's good. No CBDC. Nobody needs a CBDC. The only country that's insane enough to try to pass a CBDC is the European Union. And that's not even a country, it's a conglomerate of countries. So luckily, the United States is staying away from that. Instead, they're trying to pass stablecoin bills, which actually did pass legislation today. It got through the House. Now it's going to Congress. And that would be good. It provides the potential for interest to be paid on stablecoin holdings, for banks to use stablecoins, all sorts of positive things for stablecoins, right? But anti CBDC, very good. That's what we don't want. No digital dollar, please, not for me. Some other things, I thought this was surprising. You have Crypto Capo, who is usually a perma bear. Like basically for the last 2 years, he's been a perma bear. And he still feels this is relatively bullish. Don't get me wrong. He also has this line going down here to like, can I even blow this up? Oh, I can't. I don't want to join the Telegram. Yeah, I can't. But he still has this line going down to like 40K. The point is he sees the upside, right? We've got lower lows going or higher lows going all the way up, and the bullish momentum is regainable. We're actually right at the 200-day EMA, and we almost did flip it. However, we didn't have a candle close to flip it, but that was right before tariffs, and we're very close to being able to flip that. Once we can reclaim that, if we can reclaim like 85, 86K, Bitcoin has regained bullish momentum. Now, take that for what you will, because a lot of people will argue with me. And I'm not a huge technical analyst, but I can read the charts. So there you'll have it. But there's still a lot of bullish things outside of Lindsay Power Artist says they are buying to short. Well, there's a very well argument to be had about the whole price suppression that we've had for the past 2 months. It's provable that major institutions and whales and major players have been putting insane, huge shorts, leveraging the market for downward price action while they're buying OTC on the market, right? You suppress the price, you scoop up what you can until you can't anymore. And yes, that's exactly what they've been doing. I don't disagree with that at all. But we do have BlackRock and SEC. Now, I know BlackRock also not great for the space and everything like that. But this is actually important because this is to give IBIT in-kind redemption. So that means if you hold $82,000 worth of IBIT, you can tell them, I want a Bitcoin, right? That means that it's a true Bitcoin ETF. And SEC, I don't think they approved the Grayscale one yet either. So if they actually approve the BlackRock one, that'll be a pretty big deal and big for Bitcoin as a whole. Another thing that's big for the space as a whole is you have a lot of states that are suing Coinbase and things like that. And now, like flies, they're all just dropping it. Just like the SEC is dropping major lawsuits against tens of crypto companies. It's a never-ending list of the companies that are getting sued. But that list is also it's continuously shorting now. So positive. It's good to see favorable regulation coming into the space because it's not that regulation is what we need to further the space. It's that the space has gotten so far now that regulation is inevitable. And that's why favorable regulation is good. I'm not over here screaming to the people across the room, we need regulation or anything like that. It's the matter of we're going to have a regulation, whether we like it or not. So we need favorable regulation, right? That's the way that works. But that's not all. Not only Alabama, this article is about Alabama, but we've also got Kentucky that's looking into it and Kansas that's looking into it. But more and more of these states and governing bodies and different union institutions and things like that are looking into Bitcoin as a reserve asset or for 401ks or whatever. Just today, we had Fidelity announce that they're going to allow $5.4 trillion in retirement assets to go into Bitcoin. So it'll be the first major retirement fund that is able to get into Bitcoin. Now, in the United States, we've had other like firemen unions and policemen unions and things like that that have allowed a portion of their retirement fund to go into Bitcoin. But this is basically the people who command the majority of retirement accounts in the United States, right? So this is a large portion of money that could potentially go into Bitcoin. I'm not saying $5.4 trillion is going into Bitcoin tomorrow. It's the fact that they're going to have the option to. A lot of fund managers and portfolio managers and advisors and things like that, they haven't even been allowed to say, hey, go put 5% of your holdings or your retirement fund or anything like that into Bitcoin. They haven't been allowed to. They would lose their license. However, now it's allowed, at least for certain companies. They're going to be able to do that. And a lot of people will say, oh, diversification? Sure, why not? I've heard a lot about that Bitcoin thing. Why not? So this is a very bullish thing. While everything is looking negative and the whole crypto space is feeling a little bit bearish, oh, is the bull market over? We're not going to have an alt season. The perfect storm is brewing behind. Everything is falling into place. The price is just noise. It's that simple. Everything else is just noise. Stop paying attention to the charts and pay attention to what's actually going on in the space. It's so important that you do that. And the last or that's all I've got for Bitcoin. I want to get into some alt stuff because I love alts. I'm a filthy degenerate, and that's what really knocks my rocks off. And the SEC has actually finally acknowledged once again, Fidelity, their Solana ETF. Now, Solana did have a huge jump today. Solana got wrecked like kind of worse than anything, but we're getting closer and closer to an altcoin ETF outside of Ethereum. Lindsay goes, you got my voice spot on. I don't know which voice it was, but I'm happy I got it spot on. But we're getting closer and closer to an altcoin ETF. And this is going to be big for the space. It's almost like an acknowledgement and a respect nod, right? And I would much rather also that it goes through Fidelity instead of Grayscale, because every Grayscale ETF just dumps into oblivion. So yeah, but now we also, I think it was Fidelity too. They want to do a BNB ETF, which I think is a terrible idea. There's also, of course, the Doge ones that are going around. There's all sorts of ETFs that are going around. But now that we're getting acknowledgments, remember back to the Gensler days, we didn't even get acknowledgments. We got denials and pushbacks, right? So now we're getting acknowledgments. We're getting cases being dropped. And that is very bullish. It's that simple, because it just shows you how much closer we are to actually getting this to go through. And Solana's actually got a lot of good things going on. I know right now it's trading around like 112, which is very low. The peak just recently was around 270 or so. So yeah, it's down quite a bit, like 80% from the top, just as of what, like March or so. So yeah, it's down pretty bad. But there's still a lot of bullish things going on. The space is still growing. The reach is still growing. The blockchain is developing. Their capabilities are developing. And now they've got a protocol that just made it possible for Solana tokens to be transited between EVM and Solana chains. And EVM is just not Ethereum. It's like Avalanche and BNB. There's so many EVM chains. EVM chains command the space. So the fact that these tokens can easily, that liquidity can easily across them is a very big deal. It's a huge advancement for Solana. And I feel like a lot of people are actually heavily overlooking how important this is for Solana. And not only that, Magic Eden, I'm not a big NFT guy, but I've been getting into them a little bit more. But Magic Eden is one of the most popular dApps in the entire space. And now they're making it so that you can trade tokens, so swap them or you know, like a DEX. You can also mint tokens, you can create tokens, and you can swap them. So Magic Eden is going to become like the complete hub for all things Solana, DeFi, everything. And that's what Solana actually really needs. Sure, you've got Jupiter and you have Radium. Those are just DEXs and DEX aggregator, Orca, same thing. And it just kind of goes on. They don't have like a one-stop shop. Actually, if you think about it, Not really any blockchain does have that one-stop shop. You can go here, you can do everything. You can create a token, you can buy NFTs, you can trade NFTs, you can swap tokens. Like nobody has that, but Solana does. So it's going to be very big. And not only that, you can cross-chain swap now with Magic Eden. I'm not entirely sure what chains they have integrated yet, but they're just getting started. And this is not a Magic Eden shill. This is actually a Solana ecosystem shill. I don't really care about what Magic Eden is doing other than how it advances the ecosystem as a whole. And to move on to SWI, though, I thought this was interesting. A lot of people always talk about SWI or Bitcoin is not quantum resistance. What happens when we get to quantum computing, things like that, right? And SWI is actually, they announced they're exploring quantum resistance now and quantum safe tech. And they're going as far as saying in mid-April, we're going to get an announcement about their thoughts and how they're going to progress and handle that situation. It shows you that SWI is looking towards the future and they have the people to do it. So I'm bullish on SWI and I'm bullish on that. Not only that, SWI, and this is actually a bigger deal than you may imagine, because a lot of people know of Tron, a lot of people use Tron, but also more than that, a lot of people hate Tron and talk poorly about Tron. But what a lot of people forget is that Tron is one of the most active ecosystems in all of crypto. The majority of times, it's far more active than Ethereum. Their stablecoin transfer volume is off the charts. They're usually number one. But now you have SWI flipping Tron as the third largest blockchain for active users or active addresses. So one person can have 20 addresses. So, take that how you will. But hey, SWI is really catching on fire and they've been getting hammered lately. I love SWI and I think that they're going to have a huge bounce back. And this just shows how much their ecosystem is growing. Not only active addresses, they've had their stablecoin volume TVL like fourfold in the past couple months as well. So SWI is definitely something to keep your eyes on for sure. Other than that, Avalanche, another thing that's been getting hit heavy. Actually, if you look at it, Avalanche and SWI are currently neck and neck. So you've got SWI if this loads. Goodness gracious. Let's reload it. There we go. Oh, it just wants to break right there. That's wild. So yeah, you've got they're 300 mil apart, or well, about 250 mil, 240 mil apart. So very close to SWI flipping AVAX, but I'm still bullish on AVAX. And AVAX has continued to make major moves in the RWA and DPIN space. For the longest time, they've only been known as a gaming infrastructure chain. Subnets have been coming on, but a lot of them have been gaming. But now they're starting to emerge as a major RWA play. And now we have waiter or water or whatever, and they're bringing $20 trillion in commodities to Avalanche. That's not it though, because we also have Wisdom Tree that's bringing another whatever amount of money. You don't know because they've got $100 billion under management. So what are they going to do with it? How much are they actually going to put on chain and whatnot? But the point is they are going to make their products available on Avalanche on chain. So you're talking equities, money markets, fixed income, different asset allocation models. Like it's all going to be available on Avalanche through Wisdom Tree. This Avalanche is a major player in the space. And it's kind of overlooked a lot. A lot of people don't use Avalanche for the DeFi space. A lot of people forget about the Avalanche NFTs or Avalanche meme coins. And hey, if this isn't your first time on the show, I'm an Avalanche bull. One of my favorite projects in the entire space is on Avalanche. So I don't forget about Avalanche. But I want to remind you how much major institutions are paying attention to Avalanche. It's not just these two either. You've got the California DMV that's onboarding to Avalanche. You've got other DMVs that are onboarding to Avalanche. You've got the Saudi Arabia who's looking at launching with Avalanche. The list goes on and on. Avalanche, honestly, if you look at their recent achievements and people that are looking into them and things like that, honestly, they're one of the best looking chains there are in the entire space based off of the attention they're getting from major players. So definitely don't count that out for sure. Another thing I wanted to point out is Medicaid. They're offering you the ability right now to claim a base username for free. So not only can you get into tournaments for free, you can also claim a base name for free. And that's pretty sweet. So I'm going to hop in there and I'm going to claim at FectDK because that's what I always do. Nobody can pronounce it, nobody can spell it, but I'm going to keep doing it. And not only that, they do have another tournament running here. Mine will be coming soon, but they've got another tournament running here. So you can hop into this link I'll drop in chat. You can play for free and you can, here we go. And you can hopefully win some money. So that'd be pretty sick. Let me see here. Other than that, I did want to talk about Big Red a little bit because they did just have a race yesterday, and then they've got that was a stakes race. Unfortunately, Nymeria looked good. She definitely looked like she was about to win it. Let's see if there's a replay. I actually didn't get the chance to look, and I apologize, guys. I'm coming straight off of another hour-long show, so I got off of that show and basically immediately started this one. So I didn't get 100% time to prepare, but here's the Nymeria race. Let's see. I'm going to mute this. Let's watch it together because she started to pull up. She's right there on the end right here on the left. And then unfortunately she got overtaken by several different horses and ultimately did not win, but extremely strong showing nonetheless. So you can see she was the one in first, unfortunately fell back to sixth. Very strong showing. First race that I've seen of Nymeria, period. And Big Red Stables has had that horse for a while now. But she's got many more races coming up. Not only that, there's another race on Saturday, and I believe next Wednesday too. Those are also stakes races. So definitely looking forward to those. And not only that, boy, oh boy, has this taken like all of my time. Because the pre-sale is about to kick off. The application phase is done. The top 100 boy club members are picked. And now it went on to the phase where the boy club members, aka me, had to pick who would get accepted or not. And let me tell you, my list was like 880 people. It was insane. I'm like trying to remind them. They wanted this done in like 2 days. And I'm like, hey, I've got a full-time job. I've got a channel I'm trying to do content for. We've got the tariffs going on, crazy market stuff going on. I don't know how I'm going to finish this in time, but I went through every single one of those names, went through their Twitter profile, went through their wallet history, went through everything. And I was able to come up with people to accept, but it was a long, gruesome process. It was probably one of the most serious I've taken any choice I've made in my life because it's like end all be all. If you make a bad choice, everybody can get screwed. And I didn't want that to happen. So that's finally done. I think I was one of the few last people left to actually get their choices made. So unfortunately, I might have held it up a little bit, but at the same time, these choices, as far as I know, are going to start progressing. People are going to start being able to tell whether or not they made it. And soon the token's going to come out. So definitely looking forward to that. But man, if anything, guys, throw me a subscribe and a like for going through that. It took me like 5 days to go through that list. It was absolutely insane. I can't believe I actually got through it. I was terrified I wasn't going to make it. I almost said, handle the rest for me, boys. I can't do it. but I made it through. So yeah. Oh, I've had this message showing for I don't know how long. Other than that, though, that's about all I've got for today. So I'm going to check out the chat here, see if there's any good questions. I'm down to hang out for a little bit if you guys have anything you want to talk about. I just don't have any more topic for you. Oof, that was a lot. 35 minutes of me not shutting up. I don't know how you guys are still here. Chester says he was expecting more of a black swan event dump yesterday. I'm actually impressed by how well Bitcoin is holding. The recovery will be quicker than most think. I fully agree. I knew that we wouldn't have a crazy dump yesterday, without a doubt. I figured 100% that the bottom was basically in. It was a sell the news, buy the event situation. So, yeah. Um, Lindsay says America's never going to pay any debt. It's probably true. I don't know. I just talk about Bitcoin and crypto. What America's going to do, I don't even really care. If you're watching, switch from X to YouTube. I agree. If you're watching on X, you should come over to YouTube. And when you come over to YouTube, because I know a lot of you only watch me on X. So if anything, keep watching me on X, but hop over to YouTube and just drop me a subscribe. It helps me out a ton, bring you more content, more shows, and I appreciate Maru. Ron Paul says, RWA Vax. Yeah, buddy. Or better yet, yeah, boy. Let's go. And then Maru also again says, oh boy. Looks like I'm caught up on the chat messages. Unfortunately, I didn't get a good chance to promote this show because, again, I was going back to back live. So, yeah. But if you guys have anything you want to talk to me about, anything you want me to check out, please feel free to throw it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll wrap things up here. I'm going to be going live again tomorrow night because tomorrow's Friday. I'm going to go live every single Friday night, and that time will be consistent. I'm going to go live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then I'm also going to go live Saturday morning and Sunday morning as well. So you get a triple dose of me on the weekends. See if anything's crazy is going on. Things are starting to come back up a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. Camera walls in the house. What's good, man? Nice to see you around. Hope you've been well. Hope the market's treating you good enough. All right. Looks like not much more is rolling through, so I won't make you guys sit here in silence or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the market's at a great spot. I'm sitting here and I'm picking up as much as I possibly can because I think that we're on the way back up. So I've been buying Bitcoin, I've been buying Solana, Sui, Avalanche, Cardano, different meme coins. I think yesterday I threw $1,000 at Big Red. So yeah, I'm very bullish on Big Red. Big Red dropped down to like 1.4 mil, and I was like, take my money. Please take my money. So I hope you guys are looking at the market the same way. If not, throw something in chat. What didn't I answer for you? What do you want to understand better? And I'll make sure that I can drop it to you tomorrow when I go live again. Other than that, though, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. I appreciate you guys all tuning in with me, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Peace.